This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Well, one national nightmare is over. A missing Proud Boy who had been convicted of obstruction of official proceedings and using deadly weapons on Capitol Police, who went missing the day of his sentencing after being convicted in August, is now in custody. He's been missing for over 6 weeks. There's been an arrest warrant issued by his judge, but now Chris Worrell, 49, of Naples, Florida, has been arrested by the FBI in collaboration and cooperation with the Collier County Sheriff's Department. Chris Worrell, tough guy, Proud Boy, extremist, showed up to the Jan 6th Capitol insurrection, fully outfitted in tactical gear, weapons, communication devices. He was involved with the coordination of the efforts to overturn the election and overturn the Capitol Police line that had been established to protect the Capitol. Chris Worrell actually was involved with one of the final pushes to break the line established by the Capitol Police and Metro Police, and used pepper spray, which he sprayed in a stream at the Capitol Police in order to break through the line. The line eventually collapsed. They couldn't, as we now know, hold the line, and an entire group of insurrectionists stormed into the Capitol and tried to look for elected officials who were being hurriedly taken out of the Capitol and belly crawling to safety, including Mike Pence. But Chris Worrell, a Proud Boy, wasn't proud to have been convicted and certainly didn't want to stand there and take his punishment. He knew that the government was recommending a sentence at that time, before he went on the lam and violated the conditions of his release, for 14 years. You can imagine what Royce Lamperth, the judge, is going to sentence him for, because now not only is he going to be sentenced for the 14 years plus for obstruction of justice and use of a deadly weapon, the pepper spray, but now he's going to be separately charged, no doubt, by the Department of Justice for his violating the terms of his release, being a fugitive from justice, and requiring the manpower and the manhunt to go find him and bring him back to justice. He certainly will be held and is being held in a federal detention center. For now, he'll be brought before the judge, and I'm sure there'll be a new superseding indictment, or a new indictment, because frankly, he's already been convicted, of the prior crimes. So there'll be a new 1-count or 2-count indictment that we can now expect against him. And when at the time of sentencing, which will now, I'm assuming, will be rescheduled for several months until the indictment comes out, and either he pleads guilty to it, which I don't think he has a defense to being a fugitive from justice. He either pleads guilty to it or he goes through another trial. So I think what will happen procedurally is they'll reschedule the sentencing that was supposed to happen in August on the insurrection, obstruction of justice, and use of violent lethal weapons. And they'll sentence him on that. The government asked for 14 years, but certainly given the new information, the judge could go above that and find there are extenuating circumstances. So I don't think the judge will give him less than 14 years on that. Then separately, I am sure, because the government, the Department of Justice, can't allow fugitives of justice to get away with it, because it'll send the wrong message to others. Oh, the government's just okay with my original sentence, I might as well try to run. They're going to have to indict him for that. And then there'll be a separate either bench trial, again, with the judge, or he'll ask for a jury trial somehow. And then there'll be a scheduled trial in the next 6 months on that issue. He'll be in a federal prison assigned by the Bureau of Prisons until then, right? Or they'll keep him in the federal detention center or the Metro jail in Washington until the new, which is not a great place, by the way, until the next trial. That's now the world that Chris Worrell has devised for himself by being a coward. And, he was all tough guy. Tough. They're all tough on the day of the insurrection. They're all tough with the mob mentality, attacking police, people dying on the steps of the Capitol, them coordinating their efforts in a military, paramilitary operation. Tough guys. tough guys until they lose at trial. First, they don't want to face a jury because they don't want to face a jury of their peers. They want to take the shot with the judge. Then they lose with the judge, and this has happened time and time again. And then at sentencing, they either run, become fugitives from justice because they don't want to face the music, or they blubber like babies while they're being sentenced, or they blubber like babies, and then when their family is out on the courthouse steps, they all talk tough about how they're, the Jan 6th insurrectionists are really political prisoners. I mean, this is, crazy is as crazy does. This is the way they acted on Jan 6th. The mentality of the person, the psychosis of a person who's going to participate in the overthrow of their own democracy is also the person that's going to run, be a fugitive, not stand and deliver at the time of sentencing, cry like a baby, and then have his family talk about Ashley Babbitt, on the courthouse steps. We'll continue to follow because it's so important for our democracy. As our president just said just yesterday in a speech, we each have to do something to protect our democracy. And one of the things that you're doing is to be with the MeidasTouch network, follow the content that we provide, like this one. And we can't forget that even though there's been, a couple of thousand prosecutions of Jan 6 insurrectionists on the ground, they're not all done. The trials are not done. The sentencing is not done. We've gotten through the bulk of it. The Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and some of the highest sentences being handed out by federal judges in the District of Columbia. But it's not done. The FBI is still arresting people that slipped through the cracks that they haven't been able to find in over a year and a half. So that's still going on. So there is a tremendous, we don't want to lose focus. Don't get justice fatigue. Don't become fatigued because we're talking about important things like Chris Worrell, fugitive of justice, Proud Boy, finally getting his due, being sentenced to probably over 14 years and now being, I'm sure, indicted on a new count of, breaking the conditions of his release. These are important, and it's important every time it happens. We're going to catch it, examine it, talk about it on Hot Takes, just like this one. And I only do this in one place, exclusively on the MeidasTouch network. We do it here. We do it in Hot Takes, the leaders of Legal AF, the podcast at the intersection of law and politics, also on the MeidasTouch network. We do Hot Takes about every hour on issues that are important to you at the intersection of justice, law, and politics, right? We used to call it a corner. It's not a corner. It's a crazy corner. It's a three-way stop: justice, democracy, and the law. And we're going to bring it to you right here using our over 75 years collectively of legal experience in courthouses and courtrooms just like this one. Follow us on Legal AF on Wednesdays and Saturdays on the MeidasTouch YouTube channel. Subscribe free to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel. That'll help them get bigger. They get bigger. Your voice is better heard. And then you can follow me, Michael Popok, on all things social media at MS Popok. Until my next hot take, until my next episode of Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.